and I have to make sure that the sound that we hear in the studio is the same sound that you hear on the radio or on the TV or on the social media. And that's really hilarious because I was sitting here broadcasting, and one thing I didn't do is that I didn't turn on the recorder and I didn't turn on the social media. So it's my responsibility while I'm dealing with the engineering, while I'm dealing with the cameras and the sound and all of that. I have to also make sure that I press the button to start the recording. I have to press the other buttons to make sure there's 6 different things I have to do to put us on Twitter and on 5 Facebook pages. And I just did that while we were talking because I missed it completely. So again, there's so much that has to be done in order for us to keep people on the air. 2 days ago, we had 2 engineers from GBH Radio who came into the station, and they were looking at our setup and listening to our sound. We are trying to set up a relationship, establish a relationship with GBH Radio and develop a partnership with them. And so their technicians came in to make sure that our systems were all running. And that's kind of what a partnership is. You share things, you do things with each other and for each other. And so I was very pleased to have them say that a lot of our equipment is up to standard. It's similar to the equipment that they have at GBH. And they said the only difference at GBH and here is that those 2 engineers, one handles all the technical work at the tower where the antenna is, and the other one handles everything on the inside of the studio. So they have 2 full-time technicians that work with all the technical stuff, and they are doing a phenomenal job. Do you want to know who the technician is on Boston Praise Radio and TV and Boston Black News? Well, in case you really want to know, the technician is the man who's on the microphone talking right now. And so if anything goes wrong with the station, I'm the first person that everybody calls to see if I can come in and figure out what the issue is with the station. That's just part of the responsibility that I have, being live on the air and trying to keep this thing running. 617-282-0685 is our phone number. And if you are a technician, if you want to find a way to partner with us here on Boston Praise Radio and TV and Boston Black News and WBPG-LP 102.9, what you can do is you can actually give us a call this morning and say that you're a technician and you would like to volunteer your services, your time to help us here at Boston Praise Radio and TV. It would be great to be able to identify a technician who actually lives in the community, lives in the city, and could come to the station and work with us and help us to really bring this station to where it needs to be. Now, I'm going to go over some aspects of what we're doing, and I'm pulling up Facebook so that I can see. Eric Kennedy says, good morning, Pastor. So he's on Facebook watching us this morning, along with other people who are finding us. We just tuned into Facebook. One of the things that I want to say is that we've had so many broadcasters come through Boston Praise Radio and TV. We've had so many. We started in 2010, Boston Praise Radio and TV. We started on the internet, and we had a satellite system where we had a satellite broadcasting capabilities, we were on the satellite 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So internet and satellite. And then we moved into television, and then we moved into AM radios, and then we moved into FM. So wherever there was an opportunity for us to be on radio, whether it's AM or FM, we took that opportunity. And the reason why we took the opportunity was because we knew that there were people on many different platforms. We knew that. And what we wanted to do is that we wanted desperately to be able to be on as many platforms. Wherever people are, that's where we wanted to go. This is going to make you laugh. The other day, I was on the internet, and I typed in Boston Praise Radio and TV. I just typed it in. Then what came up was TuneIn Radio and Apple Music, all the platforms we were on, they came up. And then, as I kept scrolling, I saw platforms that said that they were Boston Praise Radio and TV, and they basically, we have no association with them. And I asked myself the question, what are they doing, and how are they doing it? And I learned by continually looking at this, I learned that they took our sound, they took our program, and they created a web page, and they called themselves Boston Praise Radio and TV, and they had all kinds of products that they were selling. So what these people do is that they search the internet, they found they look for radio broadcasts that are of good quality. They take the sound, create a web page, put their products on, and they use our broadcast to sell their products. Now, some people have said to me, why don't you go after these people? Why don't you sue them? Ask them to cease and desist. Why don't you stop them from doing what they're doing? And the reason why I'm not going to do that is because it's like chasing a ghost. I'm not going to be able to find out where these people are because they're in many different countries. They're in countries, what am I going to do? Get on a plane and fly over to Japan or China or England or Turkey? What am I going to do? I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to spend money that we don't have to go after these folk and tell them to cease and desist. There are so many. So when we say that we're on 39 different platforms, those 39 different platforms are our platforms. It's us. We're on 39 different authorized platforms. But if you were to count the additional platforms that we were on, I'm sure it would go into 40 very easily. But if they're not against you, if they're airing your broadcast in their country, in their town, in their region, in their part of the world, they're communicating your information. So I've left it alone. But it affirms the fact that what we have is working. So I want to make one other statement, and I cannot prove this, but I want to make it anyway, and in hopes that some of you who are listening and watching might pursue it, might go after it, and help us to verify whether or not this is or is not happening. So well, we have a phone call, so let's see who this caller is today. Caller, are you live?
Good morning. Can you hear me? This is Jamal.
Oh, I can hear you. Are you in your car or are you in your home?
No, I'm in my house on my cell phone.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm watching on my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. So, interesting. The point, though, that you should take away from all that is, yes, you shouldn't be going all over the planet trying to chase these people down. And a lot of these fake websites, too, it might ring like it's in China and it's really in Arkansas.
Right,
or Mexico,
right, sure.
They got it pinging all over the place. So, yeah, that would be a fool's errand for sure.
Yeah.
But the takeaway, though, that you say is they're taking your thing, they're rebroadcasting it around websites that they've created, and they're selling products.
Yeah.
The lesson here is that you should be selling products. Now, once again, and I'm serious about this. Now, because of your good nature, I'm not telling you to be a charlatan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you to start selling some miracle oil or some, you know what I mean, some little prayer rugs.
I was going to say prayer cloth or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm not suggesting stuff like that. But really, if you were able to, for instance, you know, the bookstore, you could be selling Bibles on your website.
Mm-hmm.
Bibles that, you know, you get for a good price that you don't even have to pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
And that when people order, you get a portion of the proceeds off of the profits, and you could use that as a model to help fund your broadcast. And people, as you know now, who are across the world, it could be anything, but something that maybe speaks to faith, you know, a cross, anything, as long as it's not a gimmick and it's actually a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would encourage you to develop products that your listening audience could benefit from, and that could also provide another stream of income to help support the radio station.
Right, like a T-shirt, like T-shirts.
Yes, but okay. So here's the trick with T-shirts, though.
Mm-hmm.
See, you could make a T-shirt with your own
cash flow.
With your own logo, right?
Okay.
Let's say, right? And that might sell, and that's popular for people who, you know the radio station, love it. They say, I'll get a Boston Praise radio and TV shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you made a I Love Jesus T-shirt, that can sell to everybody who loves Jesus. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage you to do more broad things. You know, yes, have some Boston Praise radio T-shirts as well, but I would focus on things that would appeal to a large audience. As I said, a Bible. You're not going to create your own Boston Praise radio and TV version of the Bible, right? Or one that's stamped with your seal on the cover, right? But if you could get Bibles, let's say, you know, and you're selling them for, I don't know, $7, and you can get them for $5, you know, that's a way as a fundraiser. And you see what a lot of people do for fundraisers and things like this. You know, there's a lot of things out there, Christian movies or documentaries that you could promote or what have you. You know, because obviously you have a very, very specific lane, being, you know, the Christian church and in Boston and these types of things. Even if, you know, I have the Boston Black History poster. You know, even if you guys wanted to order a bunch of those, you know, and use those as fundraising things or something like that. I mean, there's 100 ways to skin a cat.
Well, the other thing that I found when I do these searches, there was a web page that they said was from Ghana, so they had that out there, and they pulled every one of our videos. They pulled them all, and they had all the videos that you can just click on and watch the videos. They were not selling products, so I tried to ask myself, what are they getting from doing this, of bringing our broadcast over to Ghana, if that's where it was? They could say they're from Ghana. What do they get from just pulling our videos and just having them aired on their site without selling anything?
Some of it could just be traffic generation. So a lot of sites that want to get traffic generation and lead generation and these type of things, but they don't have any content. So you might see some of these websites and they have. This is why the new artificial intelligence is a big deal. These computers that can just write articles about anything. You know, write an article about a rose. A rose is a red-colored plant that is, you know, typical to the North American region, and blah, blah, blah. And it'll just create, you know, endless banter about any subject. So a lot of these websites are filled with that. I get people trying to sell it to me all the time. For instance, you know, I sell my health product, Moringa, on my website, and I get people all the time who are like, hey, we'll write articles about Moringa And it's just a bunch of mindless. Moringa is wonderful. Moringa is great. Moringa, you could take it in the morning. You could take it at night. And it's just really mindless words put together, but it all generates traffic. And the theory is that eventually traffic generates sales. But that traffic that they could be using that for something else, and pointing people elsewhere. And then also, too, the hope could be that somehow they're getting inspired out there. I don't know, what Ghana would get outside of your regular worship broadcast. I don't know why someone in Ghana would care about our discussions about all of the,
issues in Boston, things that
exactly right. But your general worship stuff, I mean, that can go anywhere. And so, perhaps there is actually a genuine connection there. Who knows?
That's interesting. The other thing I was going to talk about today is Rodney Daly, and I know that you knew him, but did you guys work together at all on anything back in the day?
No, as I said, like I was at odds politically. I wasn't on the gang peace thing. I wasn't on the nonprofit thing. So we didn't click like that. But certainly he had an impact on a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And condolences out to his family and all that. Because that's sad. I mean, he's still relatively young.
Did you know how? I don't know how old he is. Did you know how old he was?
No, I don't. But I mean, was he even 70?
No, he couldn't have been that. No, I'm 74. Yeah. I'm the old dog. He wasn't that old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And at least when you see him, and of course you never know when you see people what their health situation is, and then of course we also too, as they say, no man knows the time. So we never know, but he always looked in good health and good spirits, and that type of thing. So I know his family is feeling it right now. So certainly once again, condolences and peace and blessings to his family and all those lives that he touched and all that type of thing.
Did you know that he and his wife were pastoring now? They were co-pastoring a church an AME church in Lowell, Mass.
So I know you said it on the show. I remember like years back when like he talked about, I guess, being a pastor, but like I never knew him in that context. I didn't know what church he was associated with or anything like that. I just remember years back that he had went the God route, because it was like after gang peace, and he went more into the church.
He went into the church,
pastor, but I had no idea where he was or what he was doing or none of that.
Well, I believe he also wrote a book. I believe he got that out before he passed. Just like Lenny Zakem was working on a book, he got his book done before he passed, and so
that I do know that he wrote a book. I think that was a while ago, actually.
Yeah, quite a while. Yeah, quite a while ago. How he was able to do that while he was doing all his other work, I don't know, because I have 8 chapters on my iPad, and every time I write, I send the book to myself through email multiple times. So in case I lose the hard drive, I still have it on the email. But have you, with all that you've done, all that you still want to do, have you sat down and started to write about your work, past, present, and then the future?
No, I've thought about it, and it's actually funny because I tell people, who often congratulate me on my books and all that, but really, I cheated. I took the lazy man's route. So while I have published 2 books, and yay, good for me, and all that good stuff, they're books of poetry, essays, and short stories. So in other words, I write a lot. So I have journals and whatnot. And every, couple of years or whatever, I take all the stuff in the folder and the stuff I like, and I compile it and turn it into a book.
Okay.
That's very different than writing a book that tells a story from A to Z, and sitting down. So these books are like compilations. So that's why I say I kind of cheated. It's the easy way out, as opposed to writing a book that tells one story following one fluid thought. That is a challenge that I have yet to take up.
And you do have a story. You have a story because when we talk on the air, you always pull from your stories And I'm saying to myself,
Yeah.
because I hear it, I'm saying, I know this one, I know this one. Why isn't this written down? We need to be able to hear. Young people need to be able to hear your story.
The problem is too, and at least for me, I struggle with. It's a battle with ego. So part of like writing a book, to me, a lot of the things, it would almost sound like bragging, or would sound like what a lot of people do who are kind of have a megalomaniac type of personality where they continue to put themselves in all these historic situations.
Okay.
Like a lot of the stuff would really sound unbelievable and would sound like bragging. And then the other point too is I also haven't been able to wrap my mind around like a lot of the street stuff. I still can't talk about. So my book would be almost like half truths because I'm never going to feel comfortable. What did they say back in Dragnet? The names have been changed to protect the innocent. In my case, it would be to protect the guilty. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know how I would be able to get all that truth out and strike a balance between telling these old war stories and also, making it not sound like it's just a big ego monument to myself.
Now, I don't know if you know this, that there was a group that actually came from California. They wanted to do a story on Georgette and myself. Have you ever heard that story?
No, but I think that would be great. And not for nothing, once again, with all these documentaries now that are on Netflix and Amazon Prime and all this type of stuff, it's not too late. Mm-hmm. And with the right, if you get the right film student or whatever who can pull off a documentary, maybe one of these kids from Emerson or something like that. Of course, Georgette is now passed on, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's passed on. Yeah.
Yeah. So but there's still archival footage, and and there's still many of the other players who was around, and I ended up seeing. Do you remember the Reverend, what's his name, Grayland Haggard?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw him on something, like a documentary or something, and like or a newscast or something. He's still active wherever he moved to. I want to say it's Philly or something where he's at now.
Right.
But, so people like that, they're still around, and I would encourage, this is another way as well, another way to create awareness and also fundraising for the station. If you guys were to be able to produce a documentary about all the stuff that you've done, the activism in Boston, I don't know if you saw the documentary that was done at the time by Channel 5, Billy Celeste gave to me. It was called Black Cop.
I don't think I've seen that, Black Cop, no.
Okay, well, it's on YouTube, so if you search Black Cop, it's right on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
You'll find it, but that was Channel 5 did that like in the 70s or whatever, and it was a in-depth documentary expose on the Black Cops, the Soul Patrol, and all this type of stuff. So that was very excellent, and of course, Eyes on the Prize and all this type of thing.
Right.
So, we need more of that. But I think a thing on what you've done with your life, the Drop a Dime, the 12th Baptist stuff, the Orchard Park stuff, the sleeping in the crack houses, and all that type of stuff. It's a compelling story.
Well, the funny thing about the Georgette story, the producers and the writers wrote us both checks for $1,000 as a retainer for getting our story, and they put together a script, and they said, well, part of this story is going to be a romantic piece with you and Georgette, and I said what? Yeah, a romantic piece. So they gave me the contract, and so when I signed the contract, I said no romantic pieces with Georgette and I, no in the bed scenes, because that never happened. And she was married. She's married.
And not for nothing, speaking for the community, don't nobody want to see that.
Oh, that was a good one. At least the people who don't want to see it is Karen. So what?
Oh man. But and that's a good point. That goes to show you though too how Hollywood or whatever, like they need some, they
Right.
need the romance piece, or they would have wrote in, a time when a drug dealer approached you with a switchblade and there was a standoff. They need something to dramatize, and that Hollywood is always gonna what do they say? Based on true events.
Yeah, but
Right.
Jamal, how do you write in a romantic scene when A, she's married, B, I knew her husband, we were friends. Now Georgette didn't beef with it at all. But she didn't care. I said, I do care. You can't. And I said, and this is what canceled the whole thing. And I said, no profanity in the movie at all. No profanity. Well, that contract was never fulfilled at all. And I'm good with it. I'm good because my integrity is worth more than whatever they were going to pay us for the story.
Yeah, that's odd, but that really does speak to how they have no problem inserting something that never happened just in order to make it more juicy.
Yeah, to make it more juicy. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and of course they could have kept it the way it was, because at that time you weren't with Karen yet,
No,
right?
I was single.
Right. So at that time, it's even a more compelling story. He is a up and coming young preacher who is single, resisting all the temptations of the world, right? And then here's this hard scrabble community activist, married woman who's on some like I don't want to say like what's the sister down there from like Fannie Lou Hamer? You know what I mean? She was like on that type of energy. You know what I mean? And so I think that they didn't even have to twist it. They could have still had the love story. They just make the love story with her and her husband.
Right. They had two characters that they really could have developed, but quite frankly, that's the lazy way out because that's the way of the world, and it's not exalting someone like a Georgette and talking about what she did all by herself even before she met me. But there's so much that we could be talking about. And the other thing, I don't know if you know this, that, and I'm not going to explain it well, so I'm going to be careful. Do you know that Larry Ellison two or 3 days ago was awarded a detective's badge? They call it detective's badge, and it has number 1 on it.
Oh, okay, right, because he's the most senior. Okay, so I saw the picture. I didn't know what the award was for.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did a whole ceremony with that. Yeah, but so now he's number 1 because he's the most senior detective.
Right, and they actually gave him. He has a badge that he wears now. That's his badge, and the commissioner was there, and 50 people showed up. To officers and people in the community showed up to thank him and to see this. His family was there. And Larry doesn't talk about himself a lot. He talks about the issues, but he doesn't talk about himself or brag about himself. And to hear the stories about him that I didn't even know anything about. And then the commissioner said, Larry, do you know that when I took, it could have been the sergeant's exam, some exam he took, it was Larry that talked him into doing it because Larry wasn't going to do it. But he talked the commissioner into doing it. And the commissioner said, that test, that exam, helped me on my journey to where I'm at now. So that was...
Well, not for nothing, and this kind of speaks to some of the stuff that we do in Boston. There've been times when people have offered me to be awarded, right? In many cases, I've turned it down because these tangibles, or these lauds, or these. So for instance, I've had very high profile people in the city of Boston tell me that I'm a genius. I'm a genius when it comes to black history and race. I'm a genius when it comes to policing. And then when they have an opportunity to put me in position to impact those things, it doesn't happen. So that's great. Larry is number 1 now, but that's just a thing that happens, because, like I said, he's the most senior detective. Got a new shiny gold badge that says number 1 on it. Congratulations to him, his years of service. As you know, he works with me every Sunday when we go feed the hood, all that. But now, all those words of congratulations and laudatory, even the commissioner himself being impacted by Larry's work. the words to me don't measure up to the position.
Right.
That's the issue. We're at a point where we can magnify Larry and allow him to have a greater impact. But it seems like, hey, you're number one. Here's the badge. Thank you.
Here's the cake. Here's the badge. Yeah. Here's the cake. Let's applaud. And that's why I wanted to be there, because I wanted the commissioner to see me, because he and I have spoken on numerous occasions about Larry and what Larry could do for the city as well as for the community that he serves in. But again, if you don't go beyond the award, what does it really mean?
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, it's almost a slap in the face, dare I say. Because we cannot consistently, in my opinion, be told we're doing a bang up job, right?
Yeah.
But then not getting support.
Right. Stay there. Someone else is coming in. Caller, go ahead. You're live on the air. You're live on the Bruce Wall and Jamal Crawford broadcast. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, Jamal.
Good morning.
I'm on my way into the station. I usually don't call in when I'm on my way to the station, but I'm calling in because I agree with you saying about Larry Ellis, because it doesn't make no sense. He's the longest serving detective. They give him a badge and a cake. Whoopie daggone do. Larry, a couple of years ago, Larry saved somebody's life, and I tried to get the mayor, Walsh, to acknowledge it. I tried to get Kemp Janey to acknowledge it, and they wouldn't, and I was very disappointed. We gave out, when I was with BG, we gave out, and Pastor, you was part of this too. Remember when we gave out all that food at Stop and Shop?
Yeah.
Well, the guy that was driving the truck with the food had a heart attack right in front of Larry. They were unloading the truck. And Larry and Pamela Love brought that man back to life. And no one, I did call Channel 10 and they acknowledged it, but he should have got some type of award for that. I mean, Larry has been in this community for a long time. And it's just, I don't understand the city. I really don't. They do a lot of symbolism, but they don't, even the police commissioner, to me, he seems quiet. I just don't understand.
Well, it's my understanding that the police commissioner, you've extended an invitation to him to come on your broadcast. He said he's coming back on our broadcast. And again, I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I've said it enough times about what I suggested should happen to Larry. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm hoping that something will happen for him. I'm hoping, but... How long has Larry actually, if either of you two know, how long has he been a detective? I was too busy filming to get the numbers on that.
I don't know. I got that late.
Yeah, I think he came on in the mid-'80s.
In the 80s. And he was mentored by Billy Sylvester, if I'm correct, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Man. And others, and people like Willis Saunders, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're all gone. So
to me, sometimes this city, just like the more you do, the less they recognize you. They don't give you your props, and then they give it to me, they give it to the wrong people. But
well, not for nothing. It's a spiritual thing for me, because that used to really burn my britches, right? But then I had to really think that, I look in the Bible, and y'all know that story about the Sadducees and the Pharisees and all them people who, when they used to go, donate at the temple and whatnot, they'd make a big show of it so everybody could see how much money they put in and all that. So I had to really kind of control myself on the inside to be like, yo, if I'm doing the right thing because it's the right thing, then damn it. You know what I mean? If these people say thank you, sometimes the people I give food to don't even say thank you. It's okay. You know what I mean? And if the mayor doesn't, make a big parade for me on Blue Hill Avenue, it's okay. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we got to keep doing what we know is right, because that's the whole thing. we are the righteous. We're in the minority. The world is wicked, and they're going to celebrate wickedness or nothingness. They also love to celebrate and award just, the most frivolous of things, the pursuit of trivia and all this type of thing. And so we just got to stay on our course and focus on our own. And, not for nothing, as I said, Larry and I work together every Sunday. This is his day off. He got a family. He don't have to do that.
He doesn't have to come into Boston to do that. He doesn't have to do it, but he does. And you don't have to do it either.
Right.
What you do. And
at least I live close.
I'm sorry, Jamal, what did you say?
I said, but at least I live close. He's driving 30 minutes in to do this.
Yeah. And he does the same thing when he comes in early to do a 3-hour broadcast every single Saturday. And when he's not here, I have to put on a rebroadcast. People sometimes will call in because they want to talk, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, it's a rebroadcast, or Pastor Hobbs says it, and they look forward to listening to, especially when he does the real estate broadcast. I'm sitting there, my wife and I was sitting there saying, "Wow, I didn't know this."
I'm working with the lady Cora right now. She got my paperwork right now.
Oh man, that's good.
You get right to the house, Jamal. Good for you.
Well, I mean, I've been on the hunt. COVID jacked me up.
Yeah.
When COVID came, all my plans went down the toilet.
Jamal,
So
that
Jamal,
will be
you
something.
Buy in Boston?
No.
Yeah.
Don't you work for the BPGA?
Yeah, I mean, I'll still live here, but I'm going to buy a property that's, going to be for family legacy elsewhere, something that my daughter can, maintain and habitate, and whatnot, and I'll just struggle up here. I'll live in a hole if I have to maintain whatever else elsewhere. But, yeah, I don't have intentions on dying on this hill.
Yeah. So you'll have a place where you live here, but you'll also have that house that is a part of the legacy. And my wife and I are having those discussions as it relates to the properties that we used to have, and the one that
if I could get my passport fixed, my future don't even see myself in the United States. I have property in Africa already, but I've never set foot on the land because my passport is jacked. But as soon as I can unjack that situation, my people are from Jamaica, my people are from Cape Verde, Africa, all this. So I got friends who are living in Ghana right now, living like kings.
Jamal, if you're not here in the United States, if you're not here in Boston, I'm shutting down the radio station. Okay, I'm shutting it down. I'm not doing this by myself. No, you can't go.
The good news is, just like I haven't heard Homegirl, Oz friend in a while. But as you know, the internet still work, and so I can still call in or whatever from wherever I am.
Well, she is still watching. The other day I saw her watching, because you can see obviously her name listed. So those folk are still there. Those folk are still around.
Well, good day, mate, to all our friends in Australia.
If Pastor Hobbs ever went back to Australia, he'd be a big-time celebrity over here. And it was interesting when she actually came, Albina came to the United States, and she came to the studio. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience. You're watching something, you're observing it, you're looking at it, and then you finally have an opportunity to go to the place. And you walk in. It's bigger than life in your head sometimes. And you go in and you get to see the people. You should have seen her when she came into the studio, and Pastor Hobbs actually did a broadcast with her. It was phenomenal. And she started creating broadcasts on, I think, some exercising that she does. So she's come a long way from a person who said, I don't want to be seen, I don't want to be put on TV, to now she has her own broadcast on YouTube. Go ahead, Albina. Anything else, you guys, before I sign off to give time for...
No, I'm around the corner. I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Not too late, Paul.
Okay.
Have a blessed day.
All right, bye-bye.
How about you too? Well, just in the future, I hope that We can discuss some of these news issues that have been going on. You know, obviously the reparation stuff. You know, and then as well as the local activist who was called in to speak before a group of children.
I know. I saw that with Monica. I saw that. Yeah. And I think her comment to the media was, she said something like, "You're innocent until you're proven guilty." But the school department out there, the superintendent who extended the invitation, they're getting rattled by a lot of families who did not think that that was a good idea at all. Did you know that that was happening before it happened?
No, I found out after all the alarm bells started ringing. I found out. I certainly wish that I could get in contact with any of those people out there, particularly. I don't know if that's a MECO school or, but there was a black lady in the back, and she's a teacher or a coordinator of some kind. I would certainly love to have a conversation with her, because unfortunately, the real thing here is just, I get it. People supportive of this, that, and the other, whatever. But they just got duped, and they just don't know that they've been duped, because for whatever reason, people take to heart a lot of what she says, even though it's just easily provable lies. I mean, let's start here. She said that the beginning of her troubles was when she ran for office in 2016, right? And then that's when the white supremacist guy, Turtle Boy, and then myself, that's when she got on our radar. This has been, I ran for office in 2013. This has been going on long before 2016. Sad to report. This started with Tito Jackson. So, I mean, her timeline and how she recreates, revisionist history to benefit herself. One of the most comical things that she said in there is that the reason that she was taken down is because she was too powerful, and that her power, and that's why she was a problem, was because of her diplomacy. So in her mind, she really sees herself as a Gandhi-esque type figure, I guess, bringing two sides together. She always had the calm and the moral compass and the common sense to kind of navigate this stuff, and it's just really sad that, someone. I mean, it's a psychological marvel to see what's happening. So much going on. There's so much ego, so much narcissism, so much just complete denial of reality and the truth. And then also, too, the other part, just from the street, taunting the feds. The judge is going to see this video.
Right.
The judge is going to see the video where you tell hundreds of kids, and don't worry, y'all, when I beat these charges, we're going to have a party.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Insinuating that the feds just go throwing around frivolous charges. And, of course, because she's too powerful. She's, as she compared herself to, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Assata Shakur. She's all that rolled up into one.
Well, let me ask you this question, because you mentioned the speech. Was the speech recorded and put up on social media?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's on the YouTubes.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Because I was just watching the news segments when they were talking about it. And then, lastly, who invited Monica? Was it a teacher or the school department?
From what I'm understanding, it was a student group, maybe with an advisor or something, but that the money was paid by some nonprofit organization. I think it's like Bill Ricker for Education or something like that. But they paid the fee, but from what I understand, requested by the students. And once again, too, this is the danger of having young people who are often uninformed making decisions like this, because they don't yet have those abilities of the discernment and the ability to research. So they probably thought it was cool because Black Lives Matter. Yeah. So that's a problem, and a lot of our kids in these places where they're supposed to be getting information, they're actually getting disinformation.
Yeah. I saw that, and I myself would not have ever, if I was facing the case, the situation that she finds herself in, I would have never been drawing attention to myself.
Can you imagine her lawyer? I mean, the poor guy just got on the new case.
Right, and he's reading all the documents.
Right, and here she goes, once again, providing the feds with more evidence. And as you know from the reports, they say millions of pages of documents.
Right.
I want to be clear here. Where did those documents come from? Where did they manufacture? No, those are her. So the evidence against her is going to be her own words, whether it's video, whether it's emails that she was sending, text messages, phone calls. She created all the evidence. She is the defendant and the number one witness.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be something when this thing finally hits the public on the actual trial. I wouldn't want to be in that situation or my family in a situation like that. Jamal, I got to let you go. Got to get ready.
Absolutely.
For the next
Have a great
broadcast. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. You've been listening to Morning Inspiration with your host, Pastor Bruce Wall, and the young Pastor Bruce Wall, not the old one. And coming into the studio now is Minister Priscilla Flint, and she is she has leather pocketbook, leather jacket. You can see a leather jacket. She's all set up and ready to go. I think she's doing this because she has young people coming in to be her co-hosts, and she just wants to roll with them. So we're gonna get set up. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with more in just a few minutes here on the Boston Praise Radio and TV Network. And let me correct some of you. When you say 102.9, people say one. What do they say? 102.9. It's 102.9 FM radio. We'll be back in just a moment. I gotta find the screensaver for. Here it is for Minister